Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Catholic Talk Show. We got a good show for you today. How much money does the Catholic Church really have?
Ooh. Yeah, we're going to talk about some really cool things like how much does the Pope make? How much money does Vatican City spend every year? How much gold and money does the Vatican have and the church have throughout the world? And we're also going to talk about why it makes no sense to sell the Vatican.
I'll see gold in them Vatican hills. Money, 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 money.
Money!
Money!
Hey, great to be here with you guys. As always, we got
too,
Ryan
guys.
Shield and Father Rich Pagano. Guys,
What up,
how you
what up?
doing?
What's up, G-Monies?
Hey, man, we just talking about that money, money.
Yeah, dollar bills.
Dollar
y'all.
bills, y'all.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. This is gonna be a good episode. Very interesting topic. And you hear it a lot.
Oh,
you know?
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the church is, everyone always, the church has so much money. Why is the church always asking for money? Why don't you sell the Vatican? How much does the Pope make? He sits on a golden chair. And we're going to dispel some of those myths, and we're going to talk about the realities of how the church uses money in its service and not as a pursuit unto its own end.
There you go.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah, very
Father
important
Rich
topic.
Pagano makes a lot of money.
Oh, man, I'm rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
Rolling in the dough.
I had to buy him some yogurt this morning. You broke fool.
You had to buy him yogurt.
He did.
You really do eat
did.
yogurt every day.
I
huh?
do. I love yogurt, man.
Brian, will you please buy me some yogurt?
Oh, sir, I'm a poor priest. Can I please have some yogurt?
He made me beg people. Isn't it terrible that he made me beg for my breakfast?
He's just the worst kind of Medici.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, dollar
All right,
bill,
well,
y'all.
Settle in here. We're going through the finances, baby.
Yeah, this is a forensic audit, man. It's going to be like the IRS up in
Breaking
here.
out the CFOs.
Mhm.
Check into it now.
A lot of the criticism of the church from its detractors come from secular people who don't really understand how the church is organized, how it uses funds, where money goes, and they use the church's temporal wealth as a means to attack them for greed and hypocrisy. But I think we're going to show today that the church, even though it has a lot of assets, they are not, number one, they are not a pile of greed that's sitting under the Vatican of gold. They don't actually have as much money as you'd think. Now, they do spend a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of money, and we're going to get into that. So, who's the head of the Catholic Church?
Papa.
Papa Francesco.
Papa Francesco.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you would imagine that the CEO of any company, especially one the size of the church, would make a ton of money. I mean, how much money does the CEO of Disney or Apple or Ford make?
Millions.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, does the Pope have stock options like they do?
Golden parachutes and stuff?
Golden parachute?
No.
No.
But
sure
the Pope is in charge of 1 billion people and has hundreds of thousands of employees and properties and programs. But do you know how much the Pope makes?
a couple grand.
For us, pastors and parochial vicars, any priests get the same type of a salary, and it's roughly anywhere from like the high 20s to low 30s
Right.
across the board for many dioceses throughout the
Yeah,
the United
and
States.
parishes, most parishes have rectories where
Correct.
the priest can stay, and it's part of the expenses of the church.
Yeah, so I don't
It's a modest
own-
income.
Yeah, like I don't own a house
Right.
or any other types of
You can,
investments.
but
And
obviously
there's some guys that do.
Right, because you guys don't take a vow of poverty.
We
The
don't.
religious orders, generally speaking, they take a vow of poverty,
Yeah.
so they can't really own anything. But diocesan priests can own things, and I mean, it's okay. It's certainly within the realm of being holy. I mean, you know, you can't be attached to things, but certainly with that modest salary, you're not going to be,
Yeah.
driving around and
Making it rain.
Making it rain.
Corvettes.
So back to your question, I guess I would say, guessing maybe like $40,000 a year.
You're so far off.
Really?
So On average, parish priests make between 25 and 35,000 a year, depending on the diocese and the country, which is, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
But considering, that they have rectories and stuff, it's enough to live a very modest lifestyle.
Yeah.
But enough to live, which is
go see their parents and
which is
like
just it's due to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, Cardinals they have what's called the Cardinals plate. Do you know how much Cardinals make? So if they never review any of these episodes and find stuff to hold against you, and if you ever get the red hat, do you know what you're going to be raking?
That's never going to happen, dude.
You know how much you're going to rake
after all
in?
of these episodes. No. After you have proven my head's on the chopping block, you've totally destroyed my career. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank you to Pope the Catholic Talk Show.
Yeah, Pope Francis told us to do that because he didn't want you to be a climber.
Neither did Bishop Gallione, or no, that's so good, man. I guess. I don't know. There's probably
Cardinals make
50.
The Cardinals plate is what they're for a cardinal, and they get 5,000 euros a month.
That's pretty good.
Well, 5,000 euros is
double of what
$5,700. So that's
and conversion rate to the American currency.
That's $68,000 a year.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
That's good.
Dude, that's great.
But again, they all have.
They have to live in Rome. It's more expensive. They do a lot more travel.
But they get apartments. Those apartments are subsidized and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but they're also living in a higher society life. Typically, and
a lot of them give their money away.
When I was in San Diego, the cost of living is a lot higher there, obviously, than Palm Coast, Florida. So the diocese actually gave me $300 additionally for a stipend each month for food, which was good. But you run out of that quickly, and thank God for the faithful people of God that provided some food and some care.
Yeah, and their vestments and their clerical clothes, they're more expensive than what you're wearing, right? Mm-hmm. They've got the fine watered silk and
ooh la la.
Yeah, the Kappa
and I needed
Magna.
to fit in.
Right.
I need to fit in.
All right, so now we're climbing the ladder
little by little.
Yeah.
We're at the Cardinals.
What's I can hear. I just listened to the
Pope Benedict.
The listeners are like, "Shut up! What about the Pope? Shut up!"
All right, now Pope Benedict Emeritus, the Emeritus Pope. What's his retirement package?
Prada shoes for life.
Right.
Piano, cat food. He's got a cat.
He does,
and he plays the piano and he drinks beer.
He's a great pianist.
Yeah.
Pianist.
Pianist. Yeah. Oh, that's the first time in history that Ryan Schill's going to work on my pronunciation.
Pianist?
Yeah, pianonist.
Pianonist.
So do you know how much he makes, his retirement package?
Pianonista.
Pope Benedict gets a monthly stipend. Now he has his living expenses covered.
Yeah.
And he lives in...
Castel del Falto?
No.
Where the heck is that?
Pope Benedict gets $2,500 a month.
Good for him.
Outstanding.
2,500 euros.
Oh, man.
So it's a little bit more. But, he's the Pope. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what Pope Francis makes now? We're looking right in Pope Francis's wallet.
Ladder.
So let's say active.
Set 100,000 a year. Because the priests get 30 and the double again is 120 a year.
He makes 3 coins a year.
3 coins.
3 coins. That's all he gets.
3 coins in a fountain.
That's all he gets.
That's it. And then he goes to the Trevi fountain and he throws it in.
Oh. No, he doesn't get them though.
Huh.
They don't pay it to him. So now the Pope has all of their expenses covered. They live in the Vatican or Casa Santa Marta. Mm-hmm. They have the travel expense. All their popery is covered, right?
Popery.
Pun definitely intended.
Yeah. But a person is due the just wages of their work. Mm-hmm. So it would be unjust to not pay the Pope, even though the church is covering his Petrine ministry. He gets 3 coins, 1 bronze coin, 1 silver coin, and 1 gold coin per every year that he is Pope. And then upon his death, all the coins will be placed into a bag and put into his coffin.
Weird.
So if you're the Pope for 9 years, you get 9 copper coins, 9 silver, and 9 gold. They're put in a bag, and then the Camerlengo puts that into your coffin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Camerlengo.
How much weight are we talking about on these coins?
I don't know. Probably just small ones. They're, it's not... Flavor Flav isn't going to wear him around his neck.
Flavor Flav. Or like 50 Cent, he's got that big medallion around his neck that spins.
Yeah, they're modest coins and one of each type of precious metal, and they're put into a bag. And
So he makes nothing.
He makes nothing. He makes those coins and he doesn't get them until he dies.
Well, that's a bummer.
He's making coin.
I think we
Making coin.
I think we should talk about that with our employees and see if maybe they'll take that compensation package.
Yeah.
I wonder with recent invention of Bitcoin, I wonder if they can throw a Bitcoin in there too.
Just
Gold,
transfer it to his
bronze,
account.
Throw that into your digital casket right there.
His phone's like, ding. So stupid.
What does it represent that it goes into the casket shield?
Because that's when you're paid. Your job is done, and now
Good job. Here you go.
Yep. The wages earned by the
So
laborer
you don't want
are
to be
paid.
a pope.
So since all of these popes throughout history have all these coins, why don't we dig them up and then use that money for?
Because that is
real nice. That's
that-
why you're not going to be a cardinal.
Yeah, I mean,
You're gonna go
right
back
there,
to this tape.
that just
You're done.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Well,
That's desecration of a corpse and a grave.
I'm throwing out questions that are in the people of God's mind right now.
Because
they're
that would be
listening
a
in.
monstrous and a barbaric act to defile the grave.
Just
of a
like that
pope.
beard of yours, it's looking rather barbaric.
He's a little feisty today.
Yeah, I know.
Monstrous.
I'm sorry I don't have a well-groomed soap opera beard. I got a man's beard. You pour a little milk on yours, have a kitten lick that off.
Well, it looks like a kitten licked on Ryan's face earlier today because he's got patches all over the place.
His beard is Patchy the Pirate.
Oh, Patchy the Pirate.
Thanks, guys.
That's right.
Okay, back to the money of the Vatican.
One of the things that people say is that the Catholic Church is just floating on funds, right? But really, how much money do they actually have? Now, Vatican City is a nation unto itself. It's its own country, right? Do you know what the average yearly operating budget for the state of Vatican City is?
Do they tax do they tax people there? No taxes? I need to
taxes.
move there.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they'd have you. They'd look at your seminary records. They'd be like, rejected.
Now look at my beard. No.
No.
So, all right. So how, I don't know. It's a pretty big, how many, 5,000-6,000 people live there?
Yep.
You got to run tourism and all that kind of, I'd say 50 million, 100 million, 200 million.
So the United States of America, their annual operating budget is $3.8 trillion.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest
Well,
ones.
it
in the
is.
It's
world.
gotta be.
It is.
Yeah.
It's America.
America.
Right. The Vatican's operating budget, $350 million a year.
I was going to
Okay.
say
Yeah, I was like,
350,000. No way.
Now that's their operating budget.
Yeah.
That's how much they spend for expenditures. For about the last 10 years, they usually run a deficit. They usually lose about $2 to $3 million a year.
Wow.
We can make that up. Selling Vatican t-shirts.
Well, most of their income comes from
And buttons.
the Vatican museums
Yeah.
and tourism. They also have a few small shops. They have a numismatic department, which is coins. So people will buy coins from them. They also have other sources of income would be frescoes and some religious artwork.
People donate to the Vatican.
They do?
There's like,
Oh,
there's
left
like
and right.
groups. There's like
Now, this
groups
is
of
Vatican
people that
City, though.
raise money.
This is Vatican City. This is not the Catholic Church. This is the
Oh,
operating
it's
budget of the
separate?
country of Vatican because it's a country.
Okay. So, all right. So if I go to the Vatican and I just won the Mega Millions,
Right.
okay, and I'm like, I want to give you, Pope, I want to give you $10 million. Where does it go? It doesn't go to the Vatican?
No, it depends. Now, when any donation given to the Catholic Church, and this isn't canon law,
Yeah, it's canon law.
whatever you earmark it for, the church has to spend it on that, or they can't take it.
Intention. Yeah.
So if you say, I want you to spend this on only the Catholic ministry to ladybugs, they have to do that.
Okay.
Now, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but
You never know.
right.
They're
You know the
ladies.
ladybug? Do you know what the ladybug is named after? Our Lady.
Huh.
It's Our Lady's bug.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because in medieval art, she was always shown wearing red and the red cloak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway,
Now you know.
there you go.
Ladybugs.
Ladybugs. So the church, though, does have a lot of money going around.
Yeah.
It is by far, not even close, the largest charitable organization in the world by so much, not even close.
If you add all of the countries and
and in the history of the world.
In the history of the world. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is probably the biggest charity out there right now. They have a budget of about $5 billion a year. It's a lot of money.
And they're outstanding in some of the things that they give to.
Yeah, but also they also push a lot of sexual reproductive chicanery in Africa.
They do.
Where it's contingent that if you take their money, you have to pass out contraceptives. Now, they do some good too, but that, I'm sorry.
No bueno.
No, it's not good.
Of course, Catholics.
It's against,
well, Melinda Gates is Catholic.
Melinda is, yeah.
I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm a terrible person. It's cool. But, you know.
It's not cool terrible.
Before you give money to any organization, you should definitely vet them. There's organizations out there that'll tell you whether or not a charity meets Catholic social teaching standards. Anyway, the Vatican, so $5 billion a year, that's a ton of money. Do you know how much money goes in and out of the church every year for charities, for the Catholic Church?
$1 trillion.
$171 billion a year.
Wow.
The church is spending on charities, hospitals, orphanages,
schools,
programs, education, healthcare.
Yeah.
170 billion.
Well, just like in our diocese in Galveston, Houston, I mean, they raise well over $100 million a year and contribute it to the local area. You know, schools and church rehabilitation, especially after the hurricane, you know, this one that they're doing now, I think it's $80 million or something like that. It's going to repair a lot of churches that insurance didn't cover, you know, and so they're rebuilding.
And this is actual charity.
Like charity, This is churches. This is but this doesn't count the grassroots stuff that's just not accounted for. Like
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
Bake sales and
popcorn,
potlucks and whatever, right?
Pancake.
So this was done as the best estimate by the Economist magazine, where they really try to do an accounting as best. The Vatican doesn't share their finances; they don't need to.
Does that count the Knights of Columbus?
No, because those are private organizations.
Okay. Yeah, because
that's not the Catholic Church. They
get billions.
They get billions. So the Knights of Columbus are awesome.
Yeah. And they do great work.
Oh, they do
work with them.
Thank God for the Knights.
They're over in, you know, Iran and
Iraq.
I've been a 4th degree Knight for 15 years now.
Really?
Yes.
You got the sword?
My sword and my poofy hat. Yeah. Now they changed their style though. They've got like the berets now.
Do you have the sword?
Yeah. I do not have the sword.
I have a sword.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's my grandfather's.
Oh, that's legit.
Yeah, I have his sword. When we were kids, me and my brother would poke each other with it. So, out of the world's countries, about 60% of all the money given to the Catholic Church comes from the United States, and 40% comes from every other country around the world. The United States really is the main driver of finances for the Catholic Church.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And when you think of the charity that is, you know, we're built upon a stewardship model of the people of God, the finances that are collected by Holy Mother Church and then distributed. This is built upon the structural charity of the people of God in and around the world.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to think about. Like it's not like there's huge revenue streams or exchange of goods or, you know, transactional types of realities, you know, but it's really built upon, you know, a donation where your return looks differently than monetary value. So your investment is building a structural charity that reaches out and helps someone who is truly in need.
Yep. Or help a organization in need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the church runs so many hospitals. I think in Africa, 3 out of every 4 persons who has HIV or AIDS is under the direct care of the Catholic Church. And there's millions, if not 100 million people who are victims of HIV or AIDS in Africa. 3 out of every 4 are under the direct care of the Catholic Church. The Catholic charities, you know this, any Catholic charity cannot deny charity to anybody for any reason. They have to give the same level of treatment to a Muslim, to a Jew, to an agnostic, to an atheist, to a Catholic, or even, God forbid, Episcopalians.
Yeah.
Why, God forbid, Episcopalians?
I don't know. I just felt like picking on them. I'm sorry, guys. I just
Batman's mom was an Episcopalian.
That's right.
Come on.
You need to have respect. Batman's going to come in here and like old school Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Shazam.
That was something different. That was
Zoink.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Now, we talked about all this money. So they provide orphanages, schools, hospitals, psychiatric care,
Universities.
homeless shelters, shelters for abused women, clinics for drug addicts.
Yeah.
Like up in Graymore, St. Christopher's there.
They also work with a couple of foundations to help people with soldiers with PTSD that come back.
There really isn't anything that you could think of that is a charitable need in this world that the Catholic Church does not address and spend money on.
And involved in
some way.
Right.
And that's not even like talking about, guys like we know who are privately funding through their own contributions ministries.
Right. And I think if you combine all that,
it's completely, like, it's not even on the books.
Yeah, like Mother Elvira's worldwide effort in community Chinacolo, where they have, 60 some odd houses or so or more, maybe even 80 houses now around the world. That's not even accounted for in all of the money that needs to go in by way of providence to sustain their needs.
Right. And let's be clear, like, there are misuse of funds.
Oh, without a doubt.
This is a human
Look, anytime there's money, there's going to be
that. And I think, we are singing the praises of the church. But I mean, the reality is that a lot of this money sometimes gets misused by people, and we have to hold them accountable for it.
And it's right there in the gospel.
Right.
Judas is dipping into the pocketbook, and that happens.
Sold Christ for some shekels.
Oh man, I remember I was heartbroken because I was.
They were not actually shekels.
They
would have been denarii.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Get it right, Delacroix. No, but it's not a shekel.
Actually, I think, or a Tyresian denarii, which would have been from Tyre.
I just like saying, let's just stick with shekel, all right?
See, we just call it money now.
It's monies.
Money.
I have some shekel myself. No, but I've got to share this though. Like in the purity of my formation at Ave Maria University, I was just so bright-eyed and looking at the church and, becoming a priest, and I was so enthused. And I remember I was teaching catechism, and I was at this church, particularly, almost every single week. And it came out that the priest was, he embezzled money right after the hurricane in Haiti, or excuse me, the earthquake in Haiti. And it was absolutely devastating. It was devastating for me too. But again, that never shook my faith. Like I no longer believe in the Catholic Church anymore. Like, no, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And
you have to put it in perspective.
You have to put it in perspective. Just like the finances of the church, we have to have a little bit of a perspective to invite maybe a different viewpoint.
That's right.
So one of the things that you'll see online, or critics of the church, is they'll say, why doesn't the Catholic Church sell the Vatican and then you'll feed everyone in the world? That's, for anyone who thinks that, you're dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah, financially.
Or at least that's a dumb thought, and you're stupid for thinking that.
Let's be charitable here, man.
No, the Catholic Church is already the leading charity. One of us cannot be so charitable.
You big dummy.
No, it's stupid and it's short-sighted. And you brought up Judas, and it's the same exact argument that Judas brought up. So when the woman came to wash Christ's feet with spikenard and oil and spices, Judas is like, well, why didn't you take this and sell it? That was like, we could have given that to the poor. And Jesus said, look, you're always going to have the poor with me, but you will not always have me with you. And Judas's mind was money, and not for things that lift minds and hearts up. St. Francis is always looked at as this poor beggar, and he lived super simplistically. But have you ever seen a Franciscan altar? I mean, they're decked out with gold. He never spared gold for the altar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
It was the same thing with John Vianney. Lived a very beautiful life of simplicity and a form of poverty. But when it came to the liturgy itself, he wore the finest vestments, and nothing was spared for the liturgical celebration.
Some things are worth more than just money, crass money.
Right.
Some things are treasures of humanity that lift the heart and the mind of a person up to something more important. There's beauty, and Okay, sell the Vatican. Okay, well, number one, who's going to buy it? A private citizen, a Russian oligarch, or a Texas oil man? Even if they could afford it, what are they going to do with it?
They're going to take a theme park.
Yeah, or take it away from humankind to be a treasure, to be enjoyed by all people, to lift their mind up. That's terrible. Okay, so they sell it, and then you get, I don't know, you sell the Pieta for $500 million. Okay, and you give it to people. Well, $500 million is a lot of money, but they're going to eat their way through that, and then what? Then there's no cultural beauty left.
And then put it in a museum that you charge people entry fee to get, to see.
Yeah, they can't sell stuff.
Right.
The Vatican is not like a pope can't say, "Hey, we're going to sell this."
It's not the churches to sell. It is not the Vatican, and the artworks are not the popes to sell. They're not his. They are treasures that belong to the church, to me, to you,
to humanity.
To humanity. It's not something you could sell.
And it's open to the public for free.
Yeah.
That's why it always breaks my heart when a church has to be sold, you know? And, I think of one of the missions in California here, further north, St. Raphael's, and that this church had to be sold. And now I have to pay an entry fee. It breaks my heart to go into a church to pray. And there's a number of missions along the way that are privately owned now because they couldn't, be sustained financially. And we even have a mission in Northwest Florida that we may have to sell the property, but hopefully that doesn't happen. But no, it's really important to realize that the church doors are open to us, and the works and the tithing and the stewardship of the people of God in respect to arts and monetary finances and their time, their talents. This is building up the body of the structural church for us to enter into free of charge so that we may truly be inspired.
Yeah, and these were all gifts to the church too. They were not like, some of it was commissioned by the church, but those commissionings were done by people who were choosing to do that for humanity, for the church. And I think about, Frank Hanna, who was so generously involved in buying the oldest
the manuscript
of
the Bodmer manuscript, P41, I think.
Yeah, and what does he do? He gives it to the church. Yeah. That's where all
because it's a treasure,
right? They weren't going out like, hey, let's make some pretty art. Let's throw some money around and get some beautiful frescoes.
Well, exactly.
But Michelangelo didn't get paid. He got mad about that.
Well, he ultimately got paid, but he was bitching that he didn't get paid on time. And that's actually in the Vatican Secret Archives, which is in another episode. So again, though, I can go and paint my ceiling, right? I can paint your ceiling. It would maybe be all right, but it's not worth anything because the value and the importance of it is not because of necessarily the artistic quality of it or the size or the scope or grandeur or the buildup of it. It's because of its relationship to the church that it has priceless value. The Sistine Chapel is just a ceiling with some paint on it. There's a lot of painted ceilings that no one cares about. But because it's the Vatican, that's where the Pope is elected, it has a value that goes beyond monetary value. Yeah. And it's that association with the church and the glory of the church that it actually has that value.
Yeah, and I just think about how charity is always woven into the fabric of holiness, to sacrifice, sacrifice things. You see it all in the Bible about sacrifice, making sacrifices, in the Old Testament, and the charity that you give of yourself and the blessing that God has given you, giving it away. Right. It's like, I heard what's the guy's name from Financial Peace University? What's his name?
Dave Ramsey.
He says, when my hand's open and I'm giving money, and to charities, I can receive money from blessings, right? When my hand's closed, I can't receive anything. I can't give it out. I can't receive anything. It's like, extend your hand, open it up, give of your money, tithe, because God will eventually bless you from it in all sorts of ways, not necessarily monetarily.
A gift is only a gift if it continues giving. Otherwise, it becomes a possession. The minute that a gift stops being transferred to others and moving around, it's no longer a gift. It is now a thing. It's a possession. Mm-hmm. It loses its nature as a gift.
And there's a temptation out there, and this may be a little tangential, but I see it.
On this show?
On this
Tangents?
No.
Now, this may be a little bit different, but I'm going to tell you about the time that I was riding a crocodile, and I had a bottle of Jack Daniels and I had a 9-iron, right? So what happens?
Tangential explanations. The thing is I've visited a number of parishes and I've seen this in a number of different places that people are providing services to the church, whether it be anywhere from structural to architectural to building to equipment, all this different stuff. And it's like there may be a reduction in price or there might be, a certain, and that's really, it's awesome. It's good. It's good. But in the old days, you look at how St. Pat's was built, St. Patrick's Cathedral, these are craftsmen
who are giving their time and their skill, but they were the community building this by hand.
That's what church is, guys. Mm-hmm. That's what church is. It's not like, okay, I need to provide for my family, so I will provide this to the church as the church pays me. No, it's like we have a responsibility to this home that we all call home. Mm-hmm. And we all have talents. We all have treasure. We all have different things that we could bring to that house that is the church that reflects heavenly glory that, guys, we don't purchase, we don't merit.
Yeah.
It's given to us by way of the mercy of God in Jesus Christ. And we need to be more generous in our communities. We need to give without counting the costs. We need to landscape the parish and make it beautiful and put roses and bushes and maintain it regularly because this is our parish. It's not the priest's parish. It's your parish. This is the place.
Those parishes are going to outlive you. That priest is going to die. You're going to die. And that parish is still going to be there. And it's still there's going to be a need for that.
It's long an after instrument. You're dead. The church is an instrument. Architecturally, it was built. John Vianney writes beautifully about this, that it should be an instrument of salvation that's blowing this beautiful melodious music into a community. Mm. We need to truly invest in this because we need it more than ever before.
Yeah.
So look at all the good that the church does with the money that we, the church, give to us, the church. Thank you, us, for giving us money.
Yeah. What does that look like on a ledger?
I don't know. Let's ask Mike Lee. It's probably pretty creative. I'm sure he's got something for it. Mike Lee's our accountant. So everyone always talks, okay, sell the Vatican, feed the world. The Vatican, $350 million a year. It's artwork. You sell it, I don't know. You'll get $350 million a year residual income. Maybe you're losing money. And then you have the artwork. You sell it off. Okay. You fed the world for a few months, and now the church no longer has the infrastructure to feed people. Great idea, guys. You guys are incredible financial minds. But what else could you sell, right? Well, what about that maybe doesn't provide so much value and so much good to the world like the church does? What about the $350 million operating budget of the Vatican compared to the $1.36 billion industry of Crocs? The shoes.
That's a Croc.
But they are pretty comfortable.
They're nice.
They are, but they're not,
I like Sanooks better.
Oh, yeah.
They're not feeding the world. Now, Crocs might be doing excellent things.
Philanthropically.
I don't know anything about Crocs. Sure. I don't wear them. But why not call out Crocs to sell their company to feed the world? Beard care. We all got beards. Do you know how much the annual beard care
Manscaping.
The
manscape industry
is in the United States alone per year? $3.4 billion. 10 times Vatican City for beard care.
$1 billion?
Yeah. $3.5 billion a year.
I don't care for my beard.
Yeah, it's
pretty evident. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Whoa. I'm not a part of that industry.
We need to put some oil in that beard of yours.
He needs manscaping.
You need some manscaping.
Nah, man, I'm doing my part so the Vatican doesn't sell. Right? But yeah, $3.4 billion a year on beard care, just on beards. Mm. If all the dudes in America just shaved, you wouldn't have to sell the Vatican. Because there you go, feed the world. Shave your beard, save the world, right? All right, here's one.
Quotable.
This podcast is for all you haters.
Yeah,
right. Wouldn't want to listen to us anyway.
Sell the Vatican, feed the world. Okay, $350 million. You know what else you could sell? The porn industry. Do you know how much money the porn industry makes per year?
Billions.
$12 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sell the porn industry. There'll be less suffering. There'll be less human trafficking. There'll be less psychological damage. There'll be all kinds of less ills in the world.
Stop buying porn.
Right.
And send the money to the poor people. There you go.
Yeah.
If a whole industry does that, then
yeah.
Now I got one that's even bigger.
What's that?
Political campaigns. Can
I'm
you
not even getting
imagine
that.
$56 million billion last
Right.
year? If you take the expenditures of a political campaign just 1 year,
You'd feed the world.
You would feed the world.
Right. Okay.
More than 1 year, because I think it's like 18 billion to feed the poor every year.
Right. Okay, here's another industry. I like it. I don't want it to go away, but it's another example. The NFL, $14 billion a year.
They're a nonprofit.
Right. Sell the NFL. I can live without football so that the world is being fed.
Let's just sell away the Cleveland Browns.
No one wants them.
No one will buy them.
Poor people are like, thanks, no thanks.
Hey, but I have a coupon.
Sorry, sir, your coupon's not good here.
It's expired.
It's expired. Long time ago.
Elective cosmetic surgery in America. Do you know how much people spend per year? $16 billion.
Oh Lord, I was gonna say it must be higher than the porn industry.
We should put a bumper sticker, quit Botox, save the world.
Right.
Quit Botox, feed the
No. We need to make sure that we have ass lifts and we're getting permanent makeup and nose jobs because we don't like the way we look. So sell the Vatican that has poor little old nuns feeding AIDS victims in Africa, but you need an ass lift. Sorry, your plan's stupid. All right? Energy
Dude,
drinks.
Chill is on a roll right now.
Energy drinks.
Keep it going, buddy.
Energy drinks. Monster. Do you know how much we spend on that a year?
I just spent a couple bucks a few minutes ago.
too.
$50 billion a year on energy drinks.
Just in the United States?
Yeah, take a freaking nap and save the world. But no, you want to sell the Vatican.
Come on.
Don't you be coming at me with that, boy.
bro.
All right, all of us, we're starting to get some grays, right?
I have a plenty. Yeah,
I have a
I've got
lot.
plenty.
I'm getting them.
Hair coloring?
They've been coming
Hair
into
dye.
my beard.
Do you know how much hair dye we buy in America a year?
Let's just say
$2 billion?
$88 billion
Oh my gosh.
on hair dye.
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
just have gray hair and little babies aren't going to starve to death. But no, you want to sell the Vatican instead, who's actually out there doing it while you're dyeing your hair pink or red or black.
Killing people.
Right.
Yeah.
Video games. Do you know how much the video game industry
that's
is?
like $500 billion.
$91.5 billion. Dude, read a book. Go outside. Go throw a football. But no, you want to sell the Vatican and all the good
man.
and all the good that it does and
This
all
is
the
a very
people that
good
it's
rebuttal.
feeding.
This is great. Keep it going. Go.
One
Go.
more,
Come
one
on,
more.
show one more, man.
That's it.
What more can I say?
We're out of show notes.
That's it, man. We're
I
done.
don't know. How about this?
This is done.
How about the war industry? How about,
dude, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No, I'm all for
Protecting your
I kind of like the fact that we have the world's largest and most well-funded military.
Thanks be to God.
But if we could just get our stuff together and stop, I mean, dude, we could. If there's no war, we could feed people. But there's realities. But the whole point is to say for the Vatican to sell the Vatican to feed the world is so idiotic and so stupid and so spiteful.
When just not dyeing your hair.
Right. But no one wants to make a sacrifice. They want to look at the one people actually doing something about it. And because maybe what are they doing? What are celebrities doing who
They're
say
dyeing
this
their
stuff?
hair
And again, to the
getting
large-
ass lifts.
They're getting ass lifts, dyeing their hair and their beard and watching a football game while wearing Crocs and drinking an energy drink and playing a freaking video game. And there's kids starving out there. Shame on all of
You're
us.
wagging your finger at the church. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of very generous celebrities.
Of course there is.
so they're just
But
not
the whole
drinking.
point is that it's a stupid argument and I don't want to hear it ever again.
All right. Let's move to the Inquisition because he's
All
on
right.
fire right now.
I'm kind of
You're
afraid
dead.
right now,
You're
dude.
dead.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Dude, I'm on your team, bro.
All right.
I'm on your team, man.
All right. So
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
You need to take a breath.
in the Bible,
Yes.
Jesus asks for a coin and says, whose image is on it?
Kaiser.
Right. And what does he say?
So say?
Rend unto Caesar. Rend unto Caesar what is due.
Right? Because he said, whose image is on it? Well, this is Caesar. So this is Caesar's. So give it to Caesar and give to God what is God.
Yeah.
The Vatican they're on the euro and they print their own coins and they have images of Christ on it. Who do you owe those coins with the images of Christ on? Do you owe those to Jesus directly?
Who is printing it?
But whose image is on it? That's not,
Jesus.
Jesus didn't say
Jesus
who printed it. He said whose image is on it.
Jesus is printing it.
So do we have to take all the coins with Jesus on it and give it to him?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If you take those coins with Jesus on them and you go down the street and buy a pair of Crocs, you're going to hell.
That's it. HE double hockey sticks.
That's a good question. I like that. I like that. No, I mean, it should be directed towards something to build up the Imago Dei, that image that is within each of us, that we are sealed. You know, when Jesus is saying, you know, that render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is rightly God's. You know, God, you know, sealed us with this beautiful imprint of his own image inside of us. And that image it should be visible and returned to the Father, the Creator, who made us this way. So when it is money that is printed with the face of the manifest Father, that is the Son of God, Jesus Christ, when that is printed on money, it should be directed and invested purely in a way that will build up the Imago Dei of those disfigured faces of the poor.
So you shouldn't pay taxes in that city-state if they're being directed by another organization because they put Jesus on it? Is that where you were going?
No, it was just a stupid question.
It was.
I like that. That was a cool question.
We needed to take you down off your high horse anyways.
Now here. Now I'm going to throw in one more bonus topic before we leave.
Dude, he was rolling in on that high horse like,
dude, shut up about the church already, boy.
So before we
shut up already.
Okay, two things before we end this episode. Number one, go to CatholicTalkShow.com.
Do it.
Go.
Rate
us,
iTunes.
follow us. Do it. Now, real quick, do you know
Send
where the
money to
word?
us.
Do it.
Did you know that the dollar, in an offhand way, is named after Jesus' grandfather?
What?
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis?
Let me tell you. So, the dollar comes from the term Joachimsthal, which was a valley in Germany where they printed coins. St. Joachim's Valley, right? And that's where the coin,
Joachim dollar.
the coin that was used during 16th century trading, especially with like the Dutch traders, was printed in the Valley of St. Joachim. And the coin was called a thaler, Joachimsthal.
Oh,
so
wow.
St. Joachimsthal means Joachim's Valley. Mm-hmm. Well, it eventually got shortened to thaler and then anglicized to dollar. So the dollar is named after Jesus' grandpa.
There you go. Random information from the mind of Ryan Shield.
Joachimsthal, Bohemia.
Praise the Lord.
Rhapsody.
Actually, so in the Czech Republic, not Germany. I was wrong. I'm shameful.
Yes, you are.
Well, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Catholic Talk Show today. Many more episodes to come. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully you have a different perspective on the wealth of the Vatican, the structures that are needed so that this continued charity may continue well into the future and may benefit those who are most in need.
And stop dyeing your hair.
And shave your beard.
See you next week.
Give without counting the cost, for heaven's sake.
Cheers.